Yo YouTube, Cobalion Council here, and today I'm here with another episode of Teachy TV. And in today's video I'm gonna talk about Pokemon cores in online competitive Pokemon. If you already know everything there is to know about online competitive cores in online competitive Pokemon, you can go ahead and watch the next episode, which will be about, I don't know yet. I will leave an annotation or a note somewhere around here to let you guys know what the next episode is about. But like I said, today is a video about cores. And what exactly are cores? Well, cores are pretty much typing combinations or combinations of two Pokemon that form like I said, a core. It can suggest a duo of Pokemon or trio of Pokemon that can take a lot of hits between the two, or one takes hits for the other, or they're both offensive and they attack opposite typings. It's pretty weird, but I'm gonna hop over to the Team Builder tab here with my millions and millions of teams. Let's take this OU team for example. It's a great example when talking about cores. So, like I said, a core is a specific typing combination, most likely, of Pokemons that really help each other out. And there are three main cores in the metagame. If you're talking about like standard cores, I mean, there are some Pokemons that do complement each other in other ways. For like, if you have a amazing physical attacker and an amazing special attacker. If you have a Pokemon with a high attack, that Pokemon with high attack can take out Pokemons with a high special attacks. For example, if you are in UU, a Conkeldurr can kill a Blissey, but it cannot take on a Donphan, for example. It can take on a Donphan, but like a very, very defensive Pokemon, like it cannot kill a defensive Arcanine. So that's a problem for a Conkeldurr. And with a core, you have a partner for that Pokemon. For example, a very good special attacker in UU that can kill that Arcanine for the Conkeldurr. So for example, a good example is probably a mon like, I don't know, a special water type mon like Milotic, for example. It might not be as offensive as some other options, but it can 1v1 a Arcanine pretty nicely. So it can take out that physical wall for it. And Milotic struggles versus special walls, which Darmanitan can, or Conkeldurr can kill. So it's pretty nice to balance it out. And that's pretty much the basis of a core. A very famous one is a Fairy Dragon Steel core. So in this team, like you see, I have a Clefable, which is a Fairy type, and a Fairy type can take on a lot of dragons. You can switch into dragon moves, which is pretty nice. It can it fares decently versus Fairy types as well. And like a fighting type move, Clefable can switch in because it's a Fairy type and take a hit, which is pretty nice. So a dragon type, or a steel type, Fairy Dragon Steel. Yeah. So let's take Latios for example. Latios really appreciates the fact that he can take Clefable can take that dragon type move, because Latios cannot take that dragon type move. It might kill a dragon which is faster, it is faster than, but a slower or a faster dragon. So maybe another Latios. I mean, Clefable doesn't take a Psyshock very well, but at least he can switch it to Draco Meteor, which is pretty nice. And Latios, in turn for that, can put some offensive presence on other teams, which Clefable, as Fairy type, as a defensive Fairy type, most likely cannot do. And the Steel type part Metagross can take a lot of hits. It can take other dragon hits, which Latios again really likes. It can take on fairies, which Latios might struggle against. It can take on, for example, Latios can take that fire type move because it's a dragon, and Metagross really appreciates that. So this core is a pretty offensive one, most likely, but it really works because of the fact that a lot of steel types are bulky. So don't take Lucario as an example of a great steel type for a fire dragon steel core. But like Metagross is pretty bulky as a steel type, which it can take a lot of hits. Clefable can take some hits, which is it can take a lot of hits as well. So it's really nice, and Latios can deal that offensive pressure, as well as Metagross of course. But Latios really likes the support of these two mons. So that's basically a Fairy Dragon Steel core. This is a very nice group of mons you can have on a team. I mean, you can just grab a Keldeo, Landorus and Tyranitar, smack it on there, and that's basically a good team. Because of that solid base you already have. So that's pretty much a Fairy Dragon Steel core, which is the first core I wanted to explain. The second core I want to go into UU, but because I'm pretty sure there will be a core right here with the typing that I want. Yeah, let's take this. The next core I want to talk about is the Firewater Grass core, which you might have heard of. In like basic team building, but a Fire Dragon Steel core. Wait, I'm screwing up. A Firewater Grass core is a core based on that little starter trio you get in the beginning. I mean, fire takes on grass types, grass takes on water types, and water types take on fire types. That's basically it. Not only that, I mean, a fire type, like for example in UU, Firewater Grass cores are really popular. Like this Rotom as a fire type, it doesn't like rock types very much. It doesn't like ground types, but in this case this one does. But a lot of fire types don't like them. It doesn't like switching into a water type attack. So a grass type can help with all of those. I mean, you can get rid of those ground types, those grass types, those pesky little water types, which it can pressure. It's bulky as well. A lot of the times you see this is more of a bulky core. The Fairy Dragon Steel core is a tiny bit more offensive than this one, I feel like. A lot of the times, because grass types are a great defensive typing, although they have a lot I mean a lot of weaknesses. They tend to be bulky, have recovery, can take hits from like from water types like Swampert, and a lot of other types in like if you take a look at you might see mons like a Crawdont, you might see Gyarados, you might see Mega Swampert. A lot of mons are a lot of water types are really threatening. I mean, Suicune, Milotic, Vaporeon are a lot of water types in UU, so having a grass type is really nice for that Rotom as support. So it can help out a lot. But as I say, Crawdont, this is weak to like dark types, but not all grass types are weak to it. I mean, it doesn't like taking like poison type moves. It doesn't like taking fire type moves. It doesn't take as many hits as it might seem like a but it is a great defensive typing on a core like this, because a water type can give it a lot of support. In this case, you pretty much always have a bulky water. Bulky water in EU is pretty nice because it can take so many hits. In this case, you have a like a defensive, tiny bit defensive, bulky, offensive mon, which can fit in this core perfectly. because this balance just is great. It works out amazing. That's basically what a core does. It has a like it works together so much, like that synergy, and a core is really nice. And in this case I have a dual core, which I like to call it, is if like a double core or dual core, which means I have a bulky steel type, an offensive dragon type, and like a tiny bit of an offensive defensive fairy type. So cores are really prevalent in some tiers or just on teams in general. I like running cores a lot, and I mean a lot. I have like a few Ubers teams that don't have cores, but I mean like Fairy Dragon Steel core, Fairy Dragon Steel core, a Dragmag, which I will explain pretty much right now, a double core, which like I said has both of those cores. So having cores is really nice in competitive Pokemon, just because you have some nice cohesion, you have some nice synergy in your team, which can help out in a lot of situations to handle a lot of types of threats. To go over to the last one, you might see Dragmag, and Dragmag I feel like if you play like Black and White, if you have played Black and White OU and a lot of those tiers, they had a thing called Dragmag, which was basically a lot of dragons and a Magnezone, because Magnezone could trap those steel types that do want to switch into those dragon types. And after that steel type is gone, after Magnezone killed that steel type, you can run house with your dragons. And you might see teams like that. I like to call them Dragmag, although they haven't, the mag part is Magnezone, because Magnezone have Magnet Pull, which can trap steel types like I said. But a lot of times, if you want to run a really offensive team, you might run, like I want to call it Dragmag. It's not officially Dragmag because it doesn't have a Magnezone on it, but the third base is pretty much like a Fairy Dragon Steel core. It has just a Steel type and a Dragon type. This is a core that if you cannot fit a Fairy type on a team, which I would highly recommend, you can go with this other option. I mean, it's like a plan B if you don't get it. It's not that crucial to have a Fairy type. I mean, Fairy types on your team are pretty nice, but it's basically the same thing. Like, he can take on the fairies, kill with Gyro Ball, so Kyurem can clean up. That's basically it. That's a Dragmag core, and you're probably wondering like, dude, you have basic cores with like hyper offensive teams. You have a strong physical attacker and strong special attacker, or some more special attackers, physical attackers. You have Fire Water Gas, you have Fairy Dragon Steel, you have Dragmag. What are all those other teams? I mean, not all of them have like those symbols behind them. And I mean, cores are really good, don't get me wrong, but not every team needs a core. The most important part, which I do want to tell you guys, is that you cover all your threats. That's basically it. If you go into a tier, the most important part is to know that tier, know what mons are really important in a tier, which are the big threats, and you have to have something to countermeasure it. That's just the most important part at playing competitive Pokemon under Showdown Smogon rules. And I always have this little duck with all of the Smogon tiers in them, and every threat. So if I want to, for example, build a UU team, I can just have my checklist ready and see what mons do sweep me and which ones don't. Which is pretty nice to have at hand. So, like I said, you don't have to You don't have to have a core on your team, but it's important. It does. You do have to keep that in mind because it's really good. And if you don't want to play under Smogon rules, that's fine, completely fine. I have no hate towards you. I just prefer Smogon rules. But if you don't want to, sure. But I do recommend, if you don't play under those rules, choose a core. Choose a Fire Water Grass core. Choose a Fire Dragon Steel core. Go for that basic physical attacker, special attacker, little balance thing. Keep them. I mean, the most ideal thing is to have 3 physical attackers, 3 special attackers. But that's the thing you have to keep in mind if you don't want to play under Smogon rules. If you do, the best thing to keep in mind when building a team is those big threats. What can speed me? What do I have to keep in mind? And starting with a core like a Fairy Dragon Steel core or Fire Water Grass core is an amazing start. It really is. And that's basically all I want to tell you guys. It's pretty late where I am. So I gotta get going. I hope you guys learned something from this episode of Teachy TV. If you don't, well, sorry. If you have a question for me, you can leave it in the comment section below, or you can just go ahead and ask it on Twitter. I always leave my Twitter in the comment section below, in the description, I mean. And next episode, like I said, will be on screen, the subject again, because I don't know it yet. Because I'm really bulk recording, but I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here and go to bed. So I will see you guys in a later episode. Peace. But if you would give a Pokemon like Heatran here, bad dreams. Heatran doesn't get Dark Void. No. It doesn't get Hypnosis. No. It doesn't get Sleep Powder. No. So Heatran would pretty much laugh at that ability and would be hindered by it. So